Hello, family. Welcome to Supernatural Realities. We are back, and today I'm with a very important guest. This is Dr. Nyamande. And you know what? When I spoke to the doctor, she had a whole lot of experiences to share. And as she was explaining and telling me the beautiful things that God has been doing, I'm like, you know what, Doc? We need to tell the people how God has been speaking to you, how God has been doing things in your life. The Bible tells us that he that is faithful in the small things, God makes him accountable of the big things. So I'm like, Doc, you know what? Before you even share the great things that has been happening, I want you to take us through how God has been doing it from the very elementary stages, how you've made it a habit to inculcate God in almost all the things that you do. Please just say hi to our audience, Dr. Yamati.
Hello, hi. I hope you're doing well. Dr. Nyamadi here.
Thank you so much, Doc. So there's this beautiful passage that I love from the book Education. The book Education, it was written by Ellen White, and I'm gonna kindly ask the doctor to read it for us.
Page 63 says Moses did not merely think of God, he saw him. God was the constant vision before him. Never did he lose sight of his face.
Wow. So God was like a constant vision ever before Moses. And Moses never lost sight of the Lord. Now I'm just thinking, if we could only incorporate God in all aspects of life, I mean, it was going to be a beautiful experience. Every step that we take, every breath, everything that we do, if only God would be incorporated, how beautiful would it be? So the doctor is going to explain to us and share some of his thrilling, experiences. And she's simply going to share with us. And I hope that to our audience, you're going to also incorporate this in your day-to-day running. This is a doctor, super busy. Doc, please confirm, you're always busy. Yes. And this wasn't easy. For us to have such a meeting, such a discussion, it wasn't easy. But well, she gave us the honors to say, you know what, let's talk about this. So Doc, please, the honors is yours. Share with the audience what has been happening.
Okay, so I think in line with what we're talking about, supernatural realities, I've been having this constant prayer point to say when I pray, I want to be able to see God every day and to hear Him. And I just believe if He could speak to Abraham back then, He certainly can speak to me.
Definitely.
And definitely, I think I believe also that God records every sincere prayer. And sometimes it's just a wish, but He does actually honor it. So I've seen God at play, God at work in my life on a daily basis, almost every now and then. And when I see different circumstances and I feel His presence, I always want to jot it down. And as I also reflect and I feel the Spirit literally speaking to me, I always want to reflect back on that to say, what was God trying to teach me there? So I'm just going to share a few experiences. Brandon wanted me to share with them things from long back. I'm like, no, these are happening on a daily basis. So I want to always do things. I always want to share daily experiences. I want to be able to experience God on a daily basis.
And you mean to tell me that, you know what, the whole puzzle is actually fitting up well, the busy schedule, and then trying to see God in all that, in the busy life.
Definitely. Isaiah says, thou will keep him in perfect peace, him whose mind is stayed upon thee. And I believe the only source of peace is keeping our mind stayed upon God and seeing Him in the mundane, small things of life. So in that, get started. So I'm just going to share some, probably three experiences I actually had today. And what I got to learn and how I felt the Spirit impressing upon me as I was experiencing those. First case is this. First case is a case of a child who's been seeing in the ward. This child has not been doing well. He has this condition called hydrocephalus, so he has a big head. It was arrested at the neurosurgeon said they are not going to do anything. He is malnourished, he's not growing either. He has some dental caries that are really bad. He has some fractures on his limbs that are also not going to be done much. He just has so much happening, but because of how the case is, it's actually a palliative care condition. So I actually admitted this child the first time they came. I was actually on call. I admitted this child, and then because I always usually walk around with my bag with some books, I handed them a book written Health and Wellness.
So wait, Doc. Let me interject you. So are you saying every time you get into the words, yeah, you always carry a book full of spiritual stuff, spiritual books.
I usually do so. I usually walk around the bag with some books, some material to just share to my patients.
Okay.
Yeah. This week I haven't really carried the bag. I haven't disorganized, but I usually always walk around with books to give my patients.
Wow.
So yeah, I gave them this book, and but I was working in a totally different department, so they were admitted by different people.
Yes.
And then this month I happened to then join the department, and I saw her. She was so happy to see me, but I actually forgotten her.
Okay.
And then she was like, "Do you remember me?" I could barely remember her.
Okay.
And so yeah, so I then realized when I saw the book, I'm like, oh, I must have given you that book, and I remembered. So we sent her home some weeks back. Then she came back this week. The child was not doing well. She was not breathing well. But we had just told her that this is a palliative case. We are not doing much for this child.
Okay.
You know, she just has to see how to work around the baby. So now today we asked the counselor to say, go and speak to this lady so that she has an insight. That she doesn't have to come back every now and then with this small things, because this child is generally not doing so well. In summary, we're not really doing much for when we actually saw it for the child. Yes, but it's such a sorry case.
Okay.
So when we then told the counselor, that please talk to this lady, please counsel her. There was this beautiful lady. She said, please, I think we may need your help in just talking to this lady, getting to have an insight about what's happening with the child. The first thing she was like, hey, some of these cases, she just looked at the child like, some of these cases I don't have to deal with. And instantly I actually felt this inspiration to say, why should I trust in different people? Because instantly she just felt like this was too heavy. Instantly I felt like God saying, you know what, I actually have been going for therapy sessions for some reason. But instantly I then felt God literally saying, Kuti, it's okay, humans have their place, but there's some stuff that is actually too big that only I can handle. Wow. This lady thinks she actually went to school to be able to counsel people, but she's also limitations. Yes, she actually is an injury. So instantly I then felt directed to Isaiah 9 verse 6, where we are told that until as the child is born, in one and the top of the names, the first name is his name will be Wonderful Counselor, Wonderful Counselor, the Mighty God, the Prince of Peace. I realized that all I need is daily is the counsel of the one who's actually born it all. Isaiah 56:3. I also then got directed to Isaiah 53, where God says He's actually carried all our griefs, He's carried all our sorrows. So who's the best to deal with this? Because some cases really we feel like I really can't handle, but it's only God who actually can deal with that. But I as human, I actually feel incapacitated. But to her, she's actually employed, and she actually went and discussed with her, but she felt like this is actually way too big. So I felt within myself that I actually need to constantly go to Jesus for counsel. But not only that, He's faithful in that He not only is just my counselor, He's not only the counselor to deal with whatever scariest things that we think are scary are said, but He's actually said on His way as He was living, He was not an irresponsible guy. Wow. He says, as I'm living, I won't leave you comfortless, but I'll leave you the comfort and the Holy Spirit. He who is, who number one, will guide you into all the truth. So this lady, what she needs is the truth that God is still good, isn't it? She looks at the child. And it's not only God, the Spirit, God, the Son, and the Spirit who can only hammer those truths home. And He's also going to convict him of sin. The reason why the child is in this state is because of sin. So He actually is going to convict his mom of sin. Not only her sin, but the sin that is actually existing in the world. That's why He's also going to convict him of righteousness, the righteousness of God, even as He sees all these things that are actually amidst. And also, the Holy Spirit is going to also convict her of judgment. That ultimately is going to come a day where God is going to judge and put everything in order. So it's just not about just this counselor, but it just speaks more to what Christ came to do, to counsel while He was here, but not only that, but what the Holy Spirit has been poured upon us. So what more? What more are we called to? That's why we're told we need to ask for a daily baptism of His Holy Spirit. We can't impart what we don't have. So with that in mind, why not? Why are we not sharing about the Holy Spirit? Why are we trusting in counselors?
Let me get this straight. I mean, you know what? So this is a scenario where we are seeing a counselor, but someone is merely seeing a counselor who is stuck, a complaining counselor. But someone is able to pick up the inspiration of the Holy Spirit speaking on that case, on that scenario, to say, you know what? I am the wonderful counselor. The arm of flesh has its own limitations. But the Lord, makes things to happen where you say, you know what, I'm done. I'm ending here. That's why God says, you know what, I'm now starting. So, you know what, I'm really touched because in such a scenario, someone is seeing God. I wonder if you're also seeing God in the small things of life, the occurrences of life, all the things that are happening, whether you're at your workplace, you are at church, you are at school. Are you really seeing God? Are you picking up, you know what, the utterances of the Holy Spirit in everything that is happening? So, Doc, please take us to continue.
Okay, so as the story continues, so that's we'll end there on this instant.
Okay.
But the story continues. The counselor then came and gave us a report to say this mother says she actually understands what's happening with the child. But however, when she came in November, this child had a stomach problem, which she feels you have not actually addressed. And upon further problem, she also then confessed that the husband has not been supportive, so they have nowhere to go. Their house, the rent has not been paid for this month. They have no food to eat. So she finds peace and refuge in the hospital. She does not go home because there's nothing at home. Wow. But more so, she feels she has this stomach problem. So as long as she feels like this has not been addressed, she will keep coming. And instantly, I then remember just thinking and also having this inspiration that Matthew, Luke 18, Jesus says about the unfortunate widow. She then says she just kept coming until she kept coming to that unjust judge. Even though the judge did not fear God or what she said, he just said because you continue to persist, I'm going to just give you what you want. And I then remember the quote that says, how many of us, when we actually are in our audience chamber, when you want to pray with God, we are just getting there, say hi God, bye. We barely have the time to even wait to hear God's assurance. We do not have the tenacity to continue coming. Even when the doctor is actually telling you that we're not doing much for your child, she just kept coming. You just go home, just get rehab. You just see her showing up. She kept coming.
I know you guys are gonna help.
Assist me. Literally, and I felt God saying, have you been persistent in the pursuit of me? Wow. Of whatever it is that you actually have been wanting. Have you been really persistent in your relationship with me? Have you really been pursuing me that much? Am I that of value? Am I that source of refuge when you find you actually can't keep up with the cares of this life? But have you actually been pursuing me as much? The different blessings that you actually need. Have you continued to look after me, to hunger for me as the deer panteth for the waters? Have you actually been panting for me? Have you been desperate for me?
Desperate enough, the hunger.
So this reminded me of a quote that comes from the book The Great Controversies. Well, it always took me Great Controversy in the chapter that is called Jacob's Time of Trouble. It says, wrestling with God, how many know how to? Wrestling until every soul, every muscle is put upon the stretch. And the time that we are going to come.
Please take it again. Take it again. That point. What does it say?
It says wrestling with God.
Wrestling with God.
How few know how to.
Few know how to.
Few people know how to. Wrestle with God as Jacob did. Wrestling with God until every muscle and every strength is put upon the stretch.
For most of us, it's just like, 2 minutes. You just go there, you pray, then you're done. You're even thinking of WhatsApp, you're thinking of your, day-to-day duties. While you are there in the secret place.
You say usual ritual lines, dear God, thank you for waking me up, and that's it, I'm going.
Then you're done.
Before you've even heard
you can't stay there.
You can't stay in prayer.
I think now there's a grace talk there, because is it Psalms 91? It says, "He that dwells in the secret place." You see, so there's a grace that comes when you stay. There's a staying power. It's not about you just going there. It's about you staying there with the Lord long enough to hear and catch the glimpses of the Holy Spirit.
And receive the blessing. And remember, there's a vision where Ellen White also then says that I saw that there are many people. I was taken to this house where there were so many gifts and packages. And I was asking the angel, who do this belong to? And he says, this belong to those who, when they asked in prayer, were not patient enough to wait for the blessing.
Patience.
And that is where it took me to say, have I gone back to God enough? Have I continued pressing upon God right until I got the blessing? Well, actually, my blessing is actually there, but I'm actually not failing to grasp it because I do not desire to display them so much. So if I can be scrolling on social media for an hour, why can I not be in prayer for an hour with God? If I can find so much time to be hanging around with my friends, if God is really my friend, why can't I hang around with him? Just be on the couch with him discussing it. This is what I need. This is my heart. So I just feel I need to press the same way that lady keeps coming, even though she feels we are telling her that we're not really doing much. She'll just come and show up and say,
something's gonna happen.
So right until she gets what she thinks she
keeps coming.
She'll keep coming. And right until I get the blessing, if it's the blessing of the Holy Spirit, which only God can give, I need to continue pressing until my every breath is a prayer. My every breath is the atmosphere of heaven.
Wow. This is beautiful. I mean, if only the church of today could actually arrange, or rather as individuals, to say, you know what, this whole night I'm just going to be praying. I'm just going to be seeking from the Lord. The problem with us, we have to wait for the church to arrange for an all night.
And for 10 days of prayer.
Then we have to also wait for the 10 days of prayer. But literally on your own, you can't feel the zest, the desire to say, you know what, God, I'm not done with you. I'm just going to be getting personal with you. I want to sit down. I want to stay there in the audience chair. I feel like the church doesn't really appreciate the power that is vested in prayer. If only we knew how much God is waiting to bestow all these blessings upon us.
Sadly, we are not patient enough. I'm going to take you to the last bit. The last bit of where I saw God so far in my interactions with my patients. Came the child who were following up for a kidney issue, and she was just supposed to get 1 or 2 tests done. So as she sees me, she's never seen me. I say, come sister, come, let me take your blood. She looks at me straight in the eye and say, if you make it painful, I'm going to slap you in the face. If you make it painful, I'm going to say it like 3 times. If you make it painful, I'm going to slap you in the face. And instantly, I literally felt like God was actually saying to me, I've been trying to take you through certain trials to try and perfect you. And a lot of times, I literally look at him in the face and say, you make it painful, God. You just slap you in the face. If you make it painful, and it just took me to where Job goes through all those different things, and as he goes through all those different things, we're told that never did he sin against God. Never did he decide to sleep on the spirit. And you don't just sleep anyone. You sleep someone who you think there's no strength to sleep you back. You're confident in whatever you're doing. This child say, if you make it painful. So we are told that God out of his riches has given us everything that is necessary that pertains to this life and to godliness. One of those things is actually trials, which are God's perfect method of bringing out the dross that is in our characters. So now, who are you, Ursula, to determine how much pain
you're supposed to come?
Get? Yes, who are you to then tell me you should just make it slightly painful or not? Who are you to then tell and say, just make it painful, but not too much? So who are you to determine how much trials I'm supposed to take you through until you're enough? It reminds me of I've been thought of different instances where I've actually struggled even with stubborn issues when I was in school. And I was just thinking, I think, God, I've really tried to stand for you enough. Can you just give me a break for now? But somehow, I literally remember feeling God say, but my strength is made perfect in your weakness. My grace is sufficient for you. And I remember God literally echoing Psalm 84 verse 11 that says, no good thing will you withhold from them that walk uprightly. So I then realized that God is faithful. I don't know more than him. And we're now looking at the Desire of Ages, the chapter that talks about John the Baptist. It says not Enoch who was taken to heaven, but Elijah was taken in a whirlwind. He's actually the greatest. But when you look at everyone, John was regarded as the greatest. It says of all the blessings that heaven can bestow upon men, fellowship with them in suffering is the most whitest honor of all this. So I then thought, who am I to determine how much honor of his I'm supposed to receive? And I then thought of Philippians 1 verse 29, where God says, unto you it is given not only to believe on him, but to also suffer on his sake, for his sake. So why should I not suffer for his sake if it's a blessing that God has actually given me? So as I just look at how just I was saying, if you make it painful, I then felt that I then realized that this is actually me saying to God, if you make it painful, but if only I would end there, so it says I'll slap you in the face.
Yes.
Daily, I then realized that as Hebrews says, daily we crucify Christ as flesh.
Wow.
As Christ says, Ishla, just do away with this little sin. I literally sleep in like you don't know how much I love this.
Yes.
As God says, Brighton, just do away with this. I need your heart more. You say, no, my heart is with social media. My heart is with so and so. I just can't give him my heart. So literally, we slap in his face because we think it's made it too painful.
Wow.
But you think he's had me in too much trial. So I think I might as well just go and take the next bottle of wine, the next bottle of alcohol, because he suddenly he's had me in going through so much trial. So because he slapped me, I'm going to slap him back. But Job says, though you slay me, yet will I trust me. I trust you. Taking you back to Job 14:21. So it just having this girl, just seeing how this girl was behaving around me, it just took me to how, do I not resemble? It literally
This
felt
child.
God saying, you are this child.
You're like
Esther.
this
You are
child.
like this child.
Wow.
You threaten to slap me. You actually do slap me because I've made you go through the different circumstances you think you do not deserve. And who are you to measure how much you can take? As if that is not enough, this child then says, okay, you've done this, so do this, so take this plate, I'm going to do this. She was not telling me what to do.
Wow.
And she kept saying, Iwe. So Iwe and you are different, right?
Yeah.
So Iwe is like she was thinking I'm the same age. So she kept saying that I was getting annoyed. I was not getting to be patient with it. And I almost lost my patience. But as I was about to lose my patience, I also then got inspiration that is this not you? Day in, day out. You don't know how to address me as God is your Father. Do you know how many battles of yours I'm fighting day in, day out? But continually, you like sit down with me and you think
Start
I'm like
questioning.
you. Yes.
I think we're the same age.
Literally. And it then also took me to Isaiah. Isaiah 40. Not that one. It's Isaiah where God says, where do you find you are just potsherds that you are discussing?
Oh, yeah.
So what potsherd? The other version then says, it's like you look at God and say, why did you make me without handle like that? As if he's your equal, as if he's your equal, as if he's another clay pot like you that you actually can say, you have handles I don't have. Why? So you sit down and reason with God as if you are the same person.
Yeah.
Because he has done this, you actually think you can confront me and say this. You actually don't know how to address me because you think you are like me. So Isaiah 40, just Jesus keeps reiterating, to whom will you liken me to?
Okay.
And then I realized I actually don't know how to give God the glory that he can. I realized I need to sit down and ask God, teach me to be faithful in giving you the honor that is yours. Because he says, I'm God. I'm not going to give my honor to any other. So I then also realized and remembered, it took me to Romans 8, verse 26, that the Spirit then gives you, is the Spirit who actually then utters your supplications in groanings, in supplications that cannot be uttered, that cannot be uttered. I don't know how to address it. I need the Spirit to
help you
to cleanse my unrighteous words that I used to address God, the ways that I actually will address God in a I've received some gifts that are actually packaged in a funny way. And sometimes like, why would you, but sometimes my prayer is that it's like that gift that is wrapped in like a newspaper in a funny way, but the Holy Spirit will take away that package, put a proper gift back,
bring out the beautiful thing,
and bring out a proper prayer and present it to God.
Wow.
I don't know how to present God. The same way this girl, she actually doesn't even know that I went to medical school for many years. I'm taking care of her, and then she just says, you do this. Does this girl know that I'm actually a doctor? I'm actually managing it. But thank God he still where I was about to lose my patience, and then I realized, no, I do not know how to
be like
God.
this child.
I am this girl, exact girl who does not know how to reason with God. I reason with God as if I am the same person with her. But I'm not. I'm just dust.
Just clay.
I'm just but clay. And I just need God to help me. I'm saying, Lord, help me to glorify you day and day. Help me to be able to give you what is true. Help me to not treat you as if you're my equal, because you're not. Because you're different.
I mean, Doc, I still want to ask the audience to say, how much of God is in the things that we do? Of the 24 hours that you're given, someone is seeing God day in, day out. And she's able to pick up the inspiration of the Holy Spirit to say, this is what you need to pick up. This is what you need to learn, my child. From the small, minute details of life, the Holy Spirit is ever speaking, ever reiterating beautiful, blessed promises. If only you could see God when you go about teaching. If only you could see God when you do your engineering work. If only you could see God when you're busy with your taxi driving work, if only God would be seen in all the details of life, God will take you places, God will start to magnify and give you better, beautiful, brighter, experiences. Why? Because you've appreciated Him in almost everything that you see, everything that you touch, everything that you handle. I thank you so much, Doc. I mean, just because of our time, I know there are so many experiences to share, and definitely Doctor is going to give us more experiences later on. But for today, we're just going to end here, Doc. I know you have a bag of experiences, but thank you so much for, being part and parcel of the program. She was actually coming from work, busy schedule, like I said, but she got the opportunity to sit and say, you know what, I need to share these experiences. Thank you, Dr. Nyamande.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much, our viewers. Until next time, bye-bye.